Welcome to another episode of the I Know a Guy podcast. On this episode, I've got a really, really good friend with me today. His name is Freddie Wehbe. Freddie is I'm going to use the word marketing guru. I met him. I'm 40 now, Jake. I met him when I was probably 20 years old, I'd say. I was doing print media sales, and he was working, owned multiple Domino's Pizza restaurants, franchises, was kicking butt, and then schooled me on marketing. And I'm like, oh, this guy knows his stuff, right? As a sales guy, when you go in and you're trying to sell stuff, your product, and he's like, yeah, I can see how many times. This is the cool story, and we'll get to right to Freddie. The guy is ultra successful, tons of ventures he's involved with, surrounds himself with great people, but they surround themselves by him because of how influential he is, how good he is with marketing, got a great personality, great insight and knowledge. But going back to my story with Domino's Pizza, when I was sitting down talking with Freddie about placing advertising years ago, websites were just starting to take off and advertising online. And he says, everybody's got the clever idea if you're in sales. And I actually had not thought about this because our company was just getting into doing online advertising. But if you just refresh the page and keep clicking the ads, like, oh, well, I'm getting a lot of clicks. And he's like, well, because of the software he had, he could tell if the click was unique or if it was somebody just sitting there trying to make it look like they were actually, his advertisements were working. So he tracks stuff really well. I think he's got a lot of great knowledge for anybody who runs a business, thinking about doing it. And frankly, anybody who has never thought about doing it. When you look at your story, you went from a pizza delivery driver to the most successful Domino's Pizza franchisee in the country, 3-time manager of the year. Am I correct, Freddie?
That's correct.
And so I want to get into that story a little bit. That's how I met you. I met you through the pizza stuff, but I've followed you over the last 20 years now, and you're doing some other cool things.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. So talk to me about how you got in with Domino's Pizza. And you're now the CEO, owner of Wehbe Marketing. You got your own marketing firm. You're working with Steve Spurrier's restaurant as a managing partner of the Spurrier's Gridiron Grille. Ultra successful celebrity restaurant, I think one of the top ones in the country.
That's correct.
How does that happen?
I mean, it's you do the right things and good things happen. Nothing good happens unless you plan it right, just like any other successful story. Why is Facebook successful? Why is Google successful? Why is Amazon successful? They work on the basics of their business. They do their homework. They stick to the plan, and there's no secret to success. Success is easy. No, it's not simple, but it's easy. You just have to have the right plan, the right strategy, the right homework, the right research, and good things happen.
So getting to your going back to schooling, let's talk about a little bit of limited research on my end, right? You have a master's degree in mechanical engineering?
Mechanical and aerospace engineering.
Okay, aerospace from FIT?
FIT, yep.
Which
Florida Tech.
Florida Tech, which, Jake, you played high school basketball.
Yep.
Did you go to Florida Tech camp?
I did, yeah.
Okay. So I've been there. We've been there multiple times to that campus down in Melbourne, right?
Yep.
It's a beautiful place.
It is.
And you worked for NASA?
Worked for Lockheed Martin.
Okay.
Through Lockheed Martin, I worked on the space program, and this is in the early 90s when the space program wasn't great. This is
Okay.
when we transitioned from what was the space shuttle program into what the space program today, the SpaceX and Musk's project, which are doing great.
So for me, I'm trying to parallel, because people who are engineers that I've known, like architects, they think a little bit differently. But you are brilliant in marketing. How did you make that segue? What gets you from aerospace engineering, you're at Florida Tech, clearly a high-level education, to going into the pizza business, if you will, and turning it into a successful franchise? What made the change for you?
That's a good transformational question, and I'll summarize it as quickly as I can, but it was all fate. Marketing to me was fate. I had to learn marketing. I took a pink slip from Lockheed Martin when the program was not doing well. There were 6,000 layoffs. I was part of that. And I had delivered pizzas in college who kind of understood, the pizza industry, and the Domino's back then was new. It's a new system. They kind of invented delivery in the 60s, and this is in the late 80s I was delivering and learning the delivery piece. And as an engineer, you always work backwards. So in the space program, the shuttle couldn't fail. It did a couple of times, unfortunately blew the program away. But what do you do when you work backwards to make sure that your safety factor is one, that your project succeeds? And just like in business, I think that way. Every engineer thinks that way. An architect will design a building that's going to fall down. And a pilot does a checklist to his plane before he flies. You want to make sure it's going to be a safe flight, correct? Same thing with business. If you do check, 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 you succeed. And the prerequisites for that are different for every business. But for pizza, there was so much learning from it. And then when I start looking, what do I do after that? Domino's was an opportunity. I went to the pizza college and start working on the franchise piece. I worked for corporate for a little bit, learned the system, worked with my franchisee as a supervisor, and then bought out the Domino's in Gainesville. And my first store was on Southwest 13th Street. This is in 1994. Walked in, and back then Domino's was not a public company. It was a private company, and they really did not have good marketing support. So truly, for me to be successful, you need a market. So I went into the research of marketing, started learning marketing. I went back to school for marketing. I went to get my MBA in marketing and really understand what marketing is. And marketing is, the purpose of marketing. I'm a Peter Drucker fan. He invented management and marketing as far as I'm concerned. And, the definition of marketing, according to Peter, is understand the consumer, understand the product, link them together, and make sure the consumer wants your product. It's to sell your product. If you're real estate or selling automobiles or food or education, whatever you're in, banking, it's all the same. You want to sell your product to the consumer. So I really had to understand how can I link Domino's to the population so they can order more of my product. And this is how I learned marketing. And the principles of marketing don't change. The product changes, but the principles are the same. When you read Simon Sinek's book, Why, what's the why of marketing? The why is to sell a product. So how do I sell more pizza? How do I sell more folks who come to Spurrier's? How do I sell anything you do? How do you sell more houses? What's the why? It's marketing. That's marketing. Now marketing and branding are two different things. And most business owners confuse both and don't understand the delta between this and this. Marketing is one road and branding is another road. And truly, success happens in business when both of branding and marketing are parallel. And that's where most mistakes happen.
A lot of folks who are small business owners, so in your case, at Domino's Pizza, were you having to cook and box and deliver, or could you focus on marketing? And if you're a small business who realized your expertise is not marketing, it's being a chef, it's being in the kitchen and preparing a dish, it like the back of your hand, what's the advice to someone who's in that situation, maybe for marketing and what they can do? Because I think small businesses don't oftentimes have the resources, and especially mom and pops, and they, sometimes they're doing the accounting too, right? There, what's the saying? The chef, chief, water, bottle washer, all that, whatever stuff. What's the advice to someone who's trying to do marketing there and to succeed? I mean, you didn't just have it from day one, right? You started from the ground up.
Yep.
What's your advice there?
I mean, this question can be broken into three answers. For the very small business, you have to market. And if you don't have the time to do it, your best marketing is your product, is your operations, is the execution of what you do. That is your best marketing. Don't go out and do marketing when you're not ready to grow. Right? So it should be a stepping stone to become a bigger business. And this is the entrepreneurship piece of the business that is very important. It's not for everyone.
Okay.
It's not for everyone.
So what did a typical day look like for you in terms of when you were, say you got your first, I think if you go from working for Domino's Pizza to owning your own franchise, that's a huge success in of itself individually. What does a day look like for you as far as, okay, I'm up at this time and then I'm done at this time?
Any successful business owner will tell you they don't measure time.
Okay.
Right? The 9 to 5s are for team members. The time for business owners is infinity. Whatever it takes, you do what you need to do to succeed. Hard work today has become a taboo in our world and in this country. And unfortunately, That needs to go away. I've never met a successful business person that doesn't work hard. I've never met a millionaire that doesn't put 12, 15-hour days. Never, not one. I've never met a CEO that doesn't work hard. So time is not really a measurement stick. It's really what do you do in that time, too. Managing your time management is essential to success in any business. Going back to your original question, your best marketing when you're starting a business on a small level is the people you hire, the people you surround yourself with, delivering the promise of your business. It doesn't matter what the product is. If you're in a pizza business, pizza is simple. It's the easiest food in the world. It's cheap. You don't need a fork. You don't need a plate. You can grab it and eat it with your hand. You can throw it in the fridge and eat it for breakfast. Mm-hmm. And it's $8 to $9 a piece. I mean, for God's sakes, it's the easiest business in the world. But to me, what does the consumer want to order from me over the other? What am I differentiating from the other pizzeria? What I'm differentiating is the people. It's a training system. It's a selection of great talent. When you receive your pizza through a delivery driver, they're friendly, they're smiling, they're saying thank you. When you walk in, the place is clean. When you order and you trust Domino's, it says, I'll be there in 20 minutes, you get there in 20 minutes. The fundamentals of the business, if you do that on every day, everything works. Head coaches in football and basketball have a goal to win, but they have one game a week, maybe 2 games a week. In the restaurant business, you have a game every day. Every single day, you have to wake up with that mantra, with that mindset to do so, and that's your best marketing. Mm-hmm. And once your business grows because of your strong operations, then you have to market to grow your business. We grew from 1 store to 11 stores in 10 years. And then you rely on managers and supervisors, and you build a team so you can do what you want to do. Some owners of Domino's want to be marketers. Some want to be CEOs. Some want to be CPAs. Some want to be pizza makers and make pizzas every day. You choose that. Domino's is over 20,000 stores today, over 1,200 franchisees, very, very successful. I sold my franchise in 2016, but I am still an investor, a customer. It's a great, great system. They lead the pack when it comes to the pizza industry, and there's a reason for that.
You spoke on something that touched a nerve for me, on a pet peeve, and that is when I go order food from somewhere, whether it's a drive-through, and you talk about customer experience, and sometimes I order and I feel like I should be honored to be there versus them being thankful that I'm a customer. And there's a restaurant in Gainesville. It's a franchise, Roadhouse, Texas Roadhouse. And they're not bad. There's some nice people there. But the difference between the Lake City, Texas Roadhouse, it's odd. I've only been to the Lake City one time. And that was about 4 months ago. It made such an impression on me to how nice they were and serving and kind. Just that part of it. The food's the same to me. It's the same price. It's the same food. But the difference was, and it'd be worth me driving 5 minutes further than Gainesville because of that experience of the customer, of the employees being like, just everything was nicer. I didn't feel like I owed them. Even going through a fast food restaurant and you get someone kind of rude, it's a bad experience. It's like, I'm the customer. I'm not being mean to you. I'm ordering my food. And it's like, pull forward. I'm like, okay, coming up. And it's just, and I know that, that everybody has their different model, but it does make a huge difference when someone's nice and delivers your food. It enhances the experience. It makes a difference.
Absolutely. And in the restaurant business specifically, it's measurable, right? It's either a transaction or an experience. And success happens when you make it an experience. An experience does not require talent. It's be nice, be polite, smile, and make sure the order is accurate and be quick, right? Mm-hmm. Why does Chick-fil-A own the experience piece? And why do they return on their investment 5 times their competitors? Why is Publix return 3x a Winn-Dixie? Why does Target return 2x a Walmart? I mean, you can break this in any industry. It comes back to customer service and the personnel you hire and the training you give them and the retention you work on to keep them. Keeping good talent is as important as acquiring new talent. As a business owner, you have to understand you're in the business of acquisition, talent acquisition, and you're in the business, more importantly, of talent retention, keeping good people, telling them thank you. And it's not all about money sometimes. A pat on the back, a little card, a little gift, a little lunch one day, those go a long way in building your team. Why is Nick Saban a multi-time champion? He recruited talent. Went out there every day and worked hard on recruiting talent. Why is Billy Napier every day on the road recruiting talent? He can't beat the big boys until he gets bigger, stronger, and taller athletes. He's doing that, and the future is bright for Gator Nation because of talent acquisition. And then in today's world, things have changed with the portal and all that, so retention plays a big role, and hence you get collectives and Florida Victorious and all that doing that and bringing in money to the table for that type of business. But if you're a small business owner, your best marketing, I'm going to say it again, is recruit good people. It's called talent, right? Make sure you have the eye, and if you don't, study it. If you want to understand marketing, you don't have to go to get an MBA in marketing to be successful in marketing. You can take a 6-week course, you can take an online course and learn the fundamentals of what marketing is. But at the end of the day, your best marketing is the four-wall marketing within your business.
So growing up around the area and getting into the advertising and sales world, I got to attend a lot of functions, see a lot of events, and I think this is important for anybody listening because you could look at somebody who owns 11 franchises and, I don't know why some people assume if you own one that you're rich, but if you have 11, that you're just behind the scenes. It's like that Inspector Gadget. You remember Inspector Gadget? Or was that before you? And you got the bad guy just kind of pushing buttons and stuff or whatever it is. You were everywhere. You were at the golf tournaments, charity tournaments, serving pizza. You were at the high schools on Friday nights with your tent up, serving pizza or breadsticks or the newest dessert that came out. You were hands-on and involved. You could have sent 2 employees, I'm assuming, to do it. Why is that important, that involvement throughout the entire community? I mean, it's how you're known. Everybody knows. If someone doesn't know Freddie Wehbe, it's because they just haven't been around. People probably don't know who they are because you're involved in every organization, helping, assisting, all over.
That's by choice. I'm a firm believer the community will support the businesses that support the community. And if you can't do it in product, do it in money. If you can't do it in money, do it in helping with events. For pizza, it was easy to do, and I love being part of the community. I love helping charities evolve and high school games and different nonprofits that, you bring in pizza and make their event better. And I made a firm strategy. I am going to support the community. It was part of my marketing budget. It was cause marketing. Actually got me in trouble. I was giving too much pizza away and not meeting even the deadline goals of the company, corporate company. And, and today that's what they do. And any successful business is participating in the community. And if you don't have the time, you write a check. And if you don't have the money, give your product away. And if you don't have either, give your time away. Sit with someone and pick their brain and learn from their marketing team or their leadership team. Leadership is not, no one is born a leader. You earn it. You learn it. You ask about it. No one is born a marketer. You learn the skills and you apply them and you learn from your mistakes from them and you become a better marketer.
Father's Day was passed recently, and you posted on Facebook a picture of your dad. Where was that picture taken? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, that's in Accra, Ghana.
Ghana.
1967.
And that's where you're from?
I was born in Ghana, yep. And I moved around different African countries. I was raised in Ghana, lived in South Africa as well. Came to this country in 1980 to go to school and become an aerospace and a pilot engineer. The pilot didn't work. I was too fat. So I turned into engineering and great times.
What, if I can, can you compare life in Ghana or South Africa, what that looked like? Do you remember much of it? And
I do.
What is that like? I mean, so here you are a first generation Floridian, if I can.
Yep.
Did I say that right? Correct me. Jake's my guy that goes on and Wikipedia's me and goes, "Hey Ben, that was not exactly right what you stated." But you're here first, right? You come to this country. Did you come with your dad?
I did not.
Okay.
I chose. My dad convinced me this is the greatest country for my education. I lived in Ghana just like any other third world country. The country is beautiful. South Africa is one of the most beautiful countries in the world for vacation. But a lot of corruption and a lot of issues in those countries. But, if someone that came into this country, there's nothing like America. And I wanted to come to this country. I knew that because this is the country I was told, if you work hard, you make it. The opportunity is there for everyone. And, as I've lived here now for a long time, I see this almost every day. People don't appreciate this country. This is the only country you can work hard and succeed. I can't do what I'm doing outside this country. There's too many obstacles, too many government regulations, too many issues, too much corruption. This is the greatest country in the world. For me to come in here and succeed, and whatever I chose to do, I would have been successful because this is what this country provides you.
Mm.
Now what this country, when I came in the 80s and this country today are different, right? Things have changed, but it's still the greatest country in the world.
I've got a dad that's from North Africa.
Mm-hmm.
I've got a friend named Freddie Wehbe, who's from West Africa.
Mm-hmm.
A former professor who's from Marwan Smilov from Santa Fe College. A South American country. I don't want to say Venezuela. But I've met so many people who've come from other countries who immigrated to America who sing and say these exact things that we do take it for granted and do not appreciate what the rest of the world looks like and how we have it so very, very good. Not necessarily always easy, but the opportunities here are endless, and we take that for granted.
And they are, and I can tell you this, when I travel back, there are millions of people on this planet, maybe billions, that would dream to come to this country. There are people lined up in their embassies and visas and on portals trying to get a visa to come to this country. They can't. There are people dying to come to America and live in this country. We don't see those things. All we see is what the news portrays this country is all about. This is the greatest country in the world. I'm honored to be an American and proud to say that. This is the greatest country in the world. You can come in here, and if you work hard, you aspire and have vision, and you study and apply the principles of success, you can be successful. This country invented many millions of things. Pizza delivery was invented in this country. Automobiles were invented in this country. Airplanes were invented in this country. Rockets were invented in this country. Facebook was born in this country. Google was born in this country. Amazon, the number one shipping company, was born in this country, not because of luck or these people wanted to be, because this entrepreneurship spirit is very high in this country, and we have some of the smartest people in the world now. We do have some issues, and we're falling behind in education a little bit. You can see it compared to Japan and Germany. We're falling behind. We need to fix that. We need to get better teachers and pay them more and make sure our educational system is doing better. We need our family values to come back to what they used to be. A vehicle built in 1970 was much better than a vehicle built today in this country. We need to fix those things. And it comes back to, the principles of success again.
So your dad doesn't come with you to this country.
No.
What influence does he have on your life, your successes, or family around you?
I'll never forget the one principle: work hard, have integrity, be a leader, learn whatever you choose to do it right, learn it right, and execute it right. It's no different than any other successful story, and anyone can be successful. Anybody that wants to be successful, the principles are there. I read a lot of books, and they all tell you the same thing. They might be written in different words, but when you summarize them or paraphrase them, success principles are all the same.
So you go from 11 franchises. What was that, the most that you owned at one time? 11 stores, and then you sold those?
I think the most was 13.
13, and then you sell those. And I'm not sure when you started your marketing company.
I sold my franchise on February 16th of 2016.
Okay.
And I started my firm at the end of 2016.
So the latest and greatest thing that you've done, it's not the latest, but it seems to be the greatest, because if anybody follows college football, you know who Steve Spurrier is. And you've had a fantastic relationship on a personal level with him for many, many years. And he approached you to start a restaurant, which
Correct.
Sounds easy, right? Lease a building, get some cooks in there and stuff. There's a lot more to it. The story's actually fascinating with the amount of research and time that was put in before the doors ever opened. And you were the one behind the scenes leading that effort as his managing partner. Is that fair?
Along with some good people around me, yes,
Okay.
yes. But
Okay.
it is a very good story, and I'm proud to share it with you and hopefully motivate other folks because it goes back to what we talked about earlier, success, right? Coach Spurrier is a mentor for me. He's one of the best athletes in the world, most decorated, most awards probably won. For us Gator fans, we love him. He's our first Heisman winner, our first SEC champion. He's our first national champion. We didn't win from 1932 until 1990. We never won an SEC championship until Steve Spurrier came to Gainesville, and he won 7 of them. And one trait he has is he's one of the few people I know that hates to lose
Yeah, we know that.
more than he wants to win. As much as he's a winner, he hates to lose more than he likes to win. So when the idea came in, he goes, Freddie, remember that restaurant we were talking about? I said, yes. He goes, let's do it. His daughter has asked him to build a restaurant and put all his trophies in. Luckily, both Steve and Jerry Spurrier had collected everything and kept them, so it was easy for us to make a shrine of a museum, hybrid restaurant, and really start doing the research. And yes, it took us about a couple of years of researching what this looks like. Why? Because Coach Spurrier was adamant this restaurant will not fail. It needs to be very successful, and it is today. We did the research about 18, 19, and 20, opened in 21. And on August 12th, we'll celebrate our 3rd-year anniversary, and it's become one of the most successful restaurants in the state, in the country, probably one of the top 5 celebrity restaurants in the entire country. Sales are booming. Things are good. We have a team of solid people. We surround ourselves with great staff. There's a waiting list on the application portal. We're fully staffed, great managers, great partners, great chefs, great cooks, great bartenders, and we serve great food. And truly, we spent a couple of years traveling the country, learning from other celebrity restaurants. What does it look like? What does success look like? What does failure look like? Why do 90% of celebrity restaurants close? I can name 50 brands right now of celebrity restaurants that are not there anymore. Mickey Mantle's, Jordan's, Harry Carey's, Marino's, Kozar's, Solomon's, Vince Carter's, just local ones that you know about, because they don't do things right and they don't follow the research and they don't follow a plan to be successful. Just like any other business, restaurants is not for everyone. Restaurant business is not easy, but if you do it right, everybody has to eat. Everyone goes out and buys food. We're not cooking as much as before. It costs more to cook a meal than to go eat out. So restaurant business is booming for those that do it right. Then you add the celebrity piece. If you do it right, and we're lucky to have the results from Coach Spurrier and everything, and accolades and awards and trophies, and you build it in a way where you invest in building a museum and a restaurant, you support it with good food and good staff and good team members, success happens, and that's what we have today.
Is it fair to say that Spurrier's is not exclusive just to Gator fans, that you have other sports enthusiasts who love just the idea of seeing the trophies? And you say trophies, we're talking Heisman trophies, but not just Spurrier's, not just Tim Tebow's or Gators, or others. You have other memorabilia that comes in there. Is that correct? It kind of moves around?
Correct. So we've had other athletes that have provided stuff for their museum. Patrick Young just donated his trophy. Coach Holloway just won another another national championship, so his plaque will go up in the restaurant. Shane Matthews donated his SEC Player of the Year. Danny Werfel donated the trophy, the Werfel Trophy, and they lent it to the museum. So it's become a museum, and things go in and come out. People bring them and take them back and borrow them. Everyone that's donated to the museum doesn't give it to the museum. They lend it to the museum, and if they want it back, they own it. And, yeah, we have probably about 25 different trophies that are not Spurrier trophies.
I want to say I've seen pictures of other coaches in there. Was Phil Fulmer been to Spurrier's?
Many coaches have come to the restaurant. Anytime there's an opportunity for a coach to come visit, everybody wants to see the museum, kind of learn from the restaurant. It's kind of ironic. In 19, I visited all these celebrities, and Coach Spurrier would hook me up with them, whether it's Elway or Marino or Mike Shanahan or Tiger Woods or the Mantle family. And now after 2.5 years, the same celebrities are coming down, want to tour the restaurant. David Chula is a good example. And want to see what is it what's kicking, Bobby Stoops, Fulmer. They kind of want to either emulate it or learn from it, and they've heard all the cool stories about it. That's a good thing.
The coolest story to me is the bathroom. I mean, I was there a few months ago with my family on an anniversary for my parents, and it's 48, 49, I think it might be 49 actually, 50s next year. And the bathrooms, the plays that are in there on the wall, so the wallpaper are Spurrier's, Coach Spurrier's, all his plays that he'd done. It's just like, if you're and I'm a sports person. I mean, I watched Texas A&M and Tennessee's baseball game last night. My wife's from Knoxville. I have a house over in the Gatlinburg area, so I was pulling for UT to win for that area because I know, and believe it or not, I thought about you because I know that if they win the national championship, it's good for the local market.
Yep.
And I remember that when Florida sports win, when Florida football wins, Domino's pizza sales were really, really good.
Absolutely.
The local economy does really well when the Gators are winning.
Absolutely.
So that's a huge impact too, right?
Absolutely. And then I can graph my sales for the entire 20-some years I was in the business, and you can pinpoint the peak of the graphs of all the wins, and you can pinpoint at the bottom of the graphs of all the losses.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's incredible. Mm-hmm. So Florida Victorious is an arm of working to raise money for NIL. Does that sound right?
That's correct.
And you've been brought in at a director of fundraising?
Director of revenue. My job is to really build a brand and bring in more money. The college athletics landscape has changed. And in today's world, the Supreme Court did a mandate in 21 saying, athletes need to get compensated, and they do some work and charity work to do so, and that's how the new world is. And to be able to get talent, you have to raise money. Mm-hmm. And that's the new way of doing it. It's collectives. Every university has different collectives. They have one official collective. Florida Victorious is the official collective of the Florida Gators, and I partner with them, and they work together hand in hand with the administration and university to raise money and hopefully help the Gators win so we can help the local economy.
Yeah.
Done a good job statewide. Most of our money has come from everywhere, and we're doing a much better job to focus on the local area today. Our local business is not connected well with Florida Victorious, but it's going to take the entire local community as well to hopefully help Florida Victorious so the local economy can be helped. Because when the Gators win, whether it's Olympic sports or football or basketball, all the businesses succeed, not just from retail, from recruiting. My son just did a football camp in Ann Arbor in Michigan, and the coach was speaking. He said, if you want in school with good academics and good athletics, you have three choices: Michigan, Texas, and Florida. Those are the top three public schools in academics, and all three are in the top 10 in athletics. And that's who we are. We just don't see that sometimes. And for that to continue, it's going to take some money. There's no way around it anymore. And my job is to let people know that and hopefully solicit funds so we can recruit some of the best talent in the country.
Excellent. So here's a question. You put a post on Facebook, I think it was last night. It said, why is the NFL on top? They're the masters of scheduling, and a Monday Super Bowl would be a total fumble. What did that mean? What did you mean by that? Because you also hashtag business acumen, which is right in line with what you do. You brand, you market, you come up with solutions to problems. What did that mean?
That's a good question. So the NFL owns the sports viewership, the sports money, the advertising dollars, and the viewership. An NFL game is 20 to 40 million viewers at a time. Super Bowl is over 100 million. A Monday night game is not going to draw more than 12 million people. So why do we have, if you look at last night, we had 2 championships, right? We had hockey, baseball. Last Monday, we had the NBA. The college football was on a Monday. To me, if you want to maximize viewership, it should be on a Saturday or Sunday, and the NFL does a good job making sure. They've expanded to other days as well. But to me, it all starts when should this game be played, because how many more eyeballs can you get? and more eyeballs means more money. Because if I'm buying a commercial for college football or college baseball last night, it's probably nationally about $150,000, $200,000, versus if there's 50,000 eyeballs, it's $700,000. So, and they get a percentage of that, and that's how they make their money. And that comes back to planning and doing your homework. Mm-hmm. And to me, these games should be on the weekends.
So for me, Saturdays, I'll watch college football from 12 to 12, mm-hmm. and I love all the games. But there are things that happen on Saturdays. If you've got a family, you may have sporting events to go to or things to attend. But Sundays, you just don't really have that as much. I think you might get into it a little bit, but Sundays is the perfect day. I never actually thought about that. That's.
I mean, I'll ask you the question.
Okay.
In return, kind of devil's advocate question. Do you want your kids watching Tennessee and Texas A&M at midnight, watching a game on a Monday night?
No.
No.
Nope. No. Bedtime. We'll catch that tomorrow.
Yep. So how are you going to develop future fans of the sport? I'll let my kids watch it on the weekends, mm-hmm. and that comes from proper planning. Again, whether you're a small business or an NFL business, that's planning.
Well, Friday night and Saturday night, we let our kids stay up a little longer. We're going into the weekend. Sunday, and they're 4 and 2 years old, but we still treat their daycare like it's school. And Sunday night, especially for a Super Bowl, the game's at 6. So it's not 8 or 9 o'clock where you have to stay up till midnight. It's not 1 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon where it's too early. It's sort of at the right time, but it's also, it's a huge, huge event. Is that the biggest sporting event in the world?
Super Bowl is,
Super
yes.
Bowl?
I think the World Cup might be bigger in the world, but in the U.S., the Super Bowl. Again, hashtag business acumen. Acumen is a very important word. And if you're a business owner, acumen is a key word that is not talked about often. And it's something you can develop, you can gain, you can increase. The more acumen you have about your business, the more chances of success will happen.
So I have an idea, and I'm just putting it here because I want it to be on the record. This is for Florida Victorious. Every time you go through a drive-through somewhere, they ask you to do a roundup. The gas station's doing roundups at one of them in the area for a high school. Roundup. Or if you pump gas at this pump, well, so much good. I'm just saying, and this idea's probably been already out there, but would you like to round up to support University of Florida? Well, I sure would. 70 cents. Boop, done.
You can do that at Spurrier's Gridiron Grille.
Okay.
You can round up at the Swamp Restaurant.
Okay.
Soon you'll be rounding up at Miapalan Cafe.
So I didn't come up with it.
We've been working on that. No, we'll give you credit. How about that?
Thank you. Thanks, Freddie.
We're working actually with the Chamber of Commerce to make that a chamber initiative.
Wonderful.
Yep, for all the businesses. Like I said, we've done a great job with the collective, with the Florida Victorious statewide. We need to do a better job in Alachua County.
Gotcha. What any influences that you'd recommend, whether it's books or it's people to follow? And because, like I said, I've watched you for 2 decades now, and you're a premier leader, not just here. You've been a speaker internationally around the world. Who would you recommend someone pick up and read a book or? That's
a very great question, not a good question, a great question, because I firmly believe, first, readers are leaders. You want to become a leader, read. Reading is becoming less and less of a thing. It needs to come back. And if not read, there's so much. YouTube makes it so easy to listen to. I listen to Simon Sinek on YouTube. I listen to John Maxwell on YouTube. I listen to Dave Ramsey for financial mindset on YouTube, but I read a lot of books. I read about at least 2 books a month, and almost every person that's doing well today reads. And you have to make time for reading. I know we live in a much busier world. We're tied into all these platforms and multitude of things to do, but you have to make time to read, and books are great to read. I can recommend a bunch for reading. There are very good books in there. How to Influence People by Dale Carnegie is one of the best books out there. Why by Simon Sinek is another good book out there. Actually, I have a list on my phone, a cheat sheet.
Yeah, perfect.
If you allow me.
Of course.
But reading is key, and it's so easy to buy books on Amazon. You can get your book the next day, and if you're not into actual books, you can do them digitally and subscribe to Audible or one of those networks.
Mm-hmm.
Amazon Prime is free if you have it. Positioning by Trout is a great book. Purple Cow, Seth Golden, is a great book. Good to Great is a 20-year-old book still. Principles are awesome. Art of War by Sun Tzu.
Mm-hmm.
Art of War for Marketing is amazing. Art of War for Leadership. Those are sub-books of The Art of War translation. They're great books to be written. Sun Tzu was one of the most successful generals in the Chinese army, but the principles are used today by many successful folks, including Steve Spurrier. He's an Art of War principle. 21 Laws of Leadership by John Maxwell, one of the best business books ever written. It's a must-read. The Essential Drucker. I'm a big Peter Drucker fan. I apply his principles when I can. One of my most famous quotes is a Drucker quote, which is, management is doing things right, and leadership is doing the right thing.
Mm.
That's one of my best, and that's in that same book. Atomic Habit is a good book. Differentiate or Die by Jack Trout. It's a great book for branding. If you want to understand the difference between branding and marketing, this is a great book. Again, it's Differentiate or Die. There's a new, it's a 25-year-old book, but there's a new one that just came out with some changes in it. Start with Why, Simon Sinek, an amazing book, and I can go on. But reading books is key, and you don't have to go by this list. You can Google top business books or top leadership books or top success books and pick and choose. But if it's just like walking or running, if you do 2-3 miles a day and you add them all up, you could be running over 100 miles a year. Or if you bike, same thing. And if you read, if you read 5-6 chapters a day, you could read 2 books a month. Mm-hmm. That's 24 books a year. That's in 10 years. That's 240 books. I mean, think about it that way. That's a lot of books. And books make you better. You learn and share things from other folks' mistakes, what to do, what not to do. Bio books are also good. You can learn history from people and how they became successful. And, of course, it's like any other thing. There's good books and bad books, but the key is we need to make sure we're reading more books. And that's to me, one of the most important things to success is find ways to get tools to make you understand things better. And books is one way of doing so.
Thank you for that. So I'm going to shift focus real quickly. It's the last thing. You seen Shark Tank, Jake?
I have.
You know who Mark Cuban is?
Yes, owner of the Dallas Mavericks.
Yeah.
And many other things.
And many other things.
Yes.
Freddie, you know Mark Cuban?
I do.
I'm not going to put your business out there, but I want to say several years ago he reached out to you potentially to involve you in some business opportunities.
That's correct.
And it wasn't the right time for you? Is that the way to say it? Or
it wasn't the right time, and I really wanted to stay here and grow our family here. But we connect and we talk, and I do some consulting on the side occasionally. But he's another person that's found a way to be successful. Not great education, but turned it into good business. And again, this is another example that if you do things right and you follow the principles and have a plan for your business, you can succeed as well. Not only he's known for the Dallas Mavericks ownership, but Mark owns over 40 different businesses and buys businesses and supports businesses and has an entrepreneurship team that's absolutely amazing. But it's more because Mark wants to be successful. Mark wants to do better. And, he's one of those I use as an example. There's never the high point of the mountain. Once you get there, there's another mountain to look higher. Mm-hmm. And this is how Mark thinks. Success is infinity. Just because I'm a billionaire and I own all these things doesn't make me successful. It's what can I do next to be more successful? And the fact that he takes time to help other folks become successful and invest in them financially, time-wise. And if you call Mark today and say, hey, can I get 10 minutes of your time and just to pick your brain, he'll give it to you. Mm-hmm. And that's what most successful people do. Every successful person will do that. And this is how you learn. If you don't want to read a book, you don't want to take half an hour and listen to a good YouTube session of someone that's successful, reach out to them, get a cup of coffee. Go meet them and talk and get inspired and just choose to be successful. Don't be lazy. But if you're satisfied in your life where you are and you're fine to be there at that level. That's fine too. That's your choice. This is what makes America so great.
So here's my final question, because you've talked, about the different things that I mentioned the different things you've been involved with, and you said I choose to do these things. Freddie Wehbe, what drives you?
What drives you? I wake up every morning, I put my right foot down, and I say, I want to have a good day. And a good day to me is working hard, helping other folks, making sure the team you work with are successful, giving them the tools to be successful, making sure you did the research and the homework to provide those tools that are actually accurate and you're not going in the wrong lane, and making sure your family is happy. Make sure you balance work and family, and make time for you. My 2 kids, we spend time at least once a week, twice a week. We travel places, we do things. As hard as you work, that's as important. There's no success just in business world. Success is a sphere, and part of it is your family, your time, managing your structure of your time management, and helping the people around you and the businesses you choose to invest in it. For me, it's knowing that at the end of the day, I did all that, and I achieved as much as I can. And if I didn't do it today, let it be a goal for tomorrow, and really have your goals in front of you so you can check. And at the end, a good day is when everybody's healthy, everybody's successful, and everybody's doing better today than they did yesterday.
Freddie Wehbe, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Appreciate
Thank you
it.
for having me.